All right, we're gonna try something a little different today. Not out on the range, but at the house. So today I got a little list of the top three budget-friendly, competition-ready pistols. If you're looking to get into competitive shooting like USPSA or IDPA or PCSL, or just looking to take a class or get more familiar with your with the handgun, and some people want to know maybe where to start and a little bit more budget-friendly options. So this is probably the best top three. And I'll give a little bit of example. So most people that come in, what they look for, number one is going to be the one most people start with, and then number two is gaining popularity, and number three as well. But they're all pretty much comparable in price, around $600, and then you pick and choose what kind of optic you want to put on it. One of them does sometimes come with the option to have an optic. You just got to look around that time of the year when that happens. But let's go ahead and get into it with the first pick, and that would be number 3 at the M&P 2.0. This happens to be the polymer version. This one is now being used by my wife. So what I started out in USPSA, I started out with the metals. Here we have the metal, but the price on that is about $300 more than this. These are sitting around. I think when I bought it at Sportsman's, it was like $620, $29, something like that. And then you can get them if you shop around for about $600 or a little bit less. And then right now, a lot of places are doing the little package deal where they're giving you, I think, the compact version, and you're getting like 5 mags and a range bag and all that stuff. And then sometimes they're giving you the optic, but it's up to you if you want to go that route. But if you search around, $600. And then currently I have the Defender XL on here, which is just I think MSRP is like $400, but you can find them in the low threes. Definitely if you shop around. But this isn't the only option. I mean, you have Holosuns, cheaper ones like the 507C. You can get it in green or red, or however you want to do that. Also, the older Vortex optics are a lot cheaper, like sub $200, and they work just as well. But yeah, really not a bad option. You get plenty with this. The trigger isn't half bad when you buy it, but of course the thing on this one that everybody's always in a big deal about is the Apex trigger. And if you shop around and get on their their mail list, they give you the coupon codes. Like right now it's 10% off, and then coming up for the holidays towards the end of the year they'll probably do 20%. But this is a great gun. This is like my number one gun. Not this one, but the metals. But you have like 4 back straps: a small, a medium large, and a large, so you can get it to fit your hand. Most people don't. I don't think they like the way it flares out, and I think that kind of bothers some people, but it doesn't really bother me. You just find the one that fits you the best. This one is the 4 1/4, which is still considered the full size. And they come with all the plates, so that's a good option that these do come with the plates. I've never had an issue with any of these plates. They are plastic, but they come with like 4 or 5 of them, so you can pretty much put any optic on the gun. And suppressor height sights, so if you're into that kind of stuff for the co-witnessing, then this is a great option. The most notable shooter, I guess, in USPSA that does shoot this would be, if anybody's familiar with Hunter Constantine, the Constantine carry belts, belt or whatever he yapping about. So he would probably be the top dog shooter of the M&P, sponsored by M&P now. So there you go. If you follow Hunter Constantine on anything, you are familiar with this. And these are the great guns. This is actually my number one pick for me personally, but I understand this list isn't for just me. So let's go ahead and move into the number 2, and probably the most affordable and budget-friendly option. and I'll explain, is the Walther PDP. This happens to be the compact version, so it's like I think it was 4 inch, and then it's the shorter version, which held the 15. So it's basically like the Glock 19 size. So this is the first gun that I ever got into shooting carry optics with. So it's the first gun I ever mounted a red dot on, and coincidentally, the first competition style training class I ever took was a Hunter Constantine class, and this is the gun I used. So it's like the first time I ever took it to a class, and I didn't have any of the competition set up. I just used my belt, and I forgot what holster at the time, but it was just fine. It was great. It ran. I've never had any issues with this gun. For the price, I think if you look around, a lot of times they're about $500, and then towards the holidays they have their little special deal to where they'll give you the optic included. It's usually like a Mariglow or something, or you get some other package with mags or something like that. But this just happens to be the compact because that's what I bought to conceal carry. But you can get the full size one, roughly about the same price and the same options. And then the plates, they don't come with the plates for the PDP. What you do is you scan the barcode and you figure out which optic you're going to buy, whether it's RMR footprint or Delta Point Pro, which is with what the Vortex optics are. So those being the two most popular ones, you would scan the code, pick that one, and then they give you a nice steel plate or whatever. Never really had any issues with these plates. On the full-size PDP, it's not square, so I think the screws or whatever, it's slightly kicked over to like the left. So I have to chase the dot over to the right, and then when you take that off, put on another gun, you have to go back. So I never figured out why, but that's both RMR plates and Delta Point Pro plates on just that gun. The full-size gun, my wife's been using it for a while, and now she's using this one. But great guns, great options. Anytime there's like a new shooter asking what kind of gun to get into, this is usually the one I recommend. For the price, you can get them a lot. Right now I think they're about $5.99, but they're always on sale for about $4.99. Plus if you get the rebates and all that other stuff, you get a lot in this gun. Probably the best deal out of all of them, especially if you get the optic. I'm not too familiar with the Mariglow. My buddy did get the same setup, and we put it on there, and I think I tried it. I think it was a green one. I think I shot it briefly, and I don't really remember much of it, but I don't remember it being bad either. So if you're just getting started, you get the whole thing, sub $600 optic, the plate and all that stuff. And then there's the market's growing also on these as far as the aftermarket magazines. Just happens to be for the compact. They make an extension now because the longer, this is the compact version, but the full-size version is 18 rounds. You're not supposed to use those mags in that gun for overseating or something. So you get this one now, I forget, Gun Mag Warehouse or something. I think it was about $40, maybe a little more. It's 18 rounds, so it's got the little bumper on there. Or you can go the other route, which this Springer Precision, but they were like $40. So with the mag, you're looking at about $90, $100, whatever. But you have options for this gun. So the most notable shooter in USPSA would happen to be Jay Bill, I would say top 5 finisher in most events, nationals and world stuff like that. I don't know what his handles are, Jay Clay or something, but pretty awesome shooter. So notably, he's running the PDP, and then other people like Modern Samurai Project, I think he's sponsored through Walther and all that stuff. So if you're familiar with concealed carry and fast draws out of concealment or appendix, and you already know about this gun. The other options, they do have the PDP performance trigger, which this one does not, but the other gun does. It came that way. The triggers are usually sub 200 bucks on sale. Sometimes they're on sale for like 150. Just throw that bad boy in there later. But there's nothing wrong with this gun. I add the brass bag strap just because add a little bit of weight, and I just like the way it feels. So yeah, another one that could be option number one, or my favorite. This is the one I do recommend to new shooters or to new people buying guns. Highly recommend it, especially for the ladies. It's a great shooter. It's not a flat shooter. It is very snappy, but it's a good point and shoot gun. It's just an amazing gun. But let's get to number one, and I'm pretty sure nobody will be surprised at what number one is, and that's Glock. I know this happens to have no optic on there, but it is what it is. The screw sheared off, so I'm kind of screwed. I do have the Glock 19, which was my first Glock, but it's currently being loaned out to my buddy so he can compete with it himself. But this is most likely most people's options. Most people are going to tell you just buy a Glock. I wouldn't recommend sending somebody down that route, but most likely this is the one you're going to try and experiment with first, or try your buddies or whatever. And then the options, the aftermarket or the support for this is just beyond anything. It's like the Honda Civic, you know what I'm saying? You can do whatever you want with it. I got the brass butt plug, the brass plate, I got the heavier tungsten guide rod, the springs and all that stuff. But there's just so much you can do with this gun. It's endless, the possibilities. So yeah, so basically about the same price. This happens to be the Glock 47, so which is turning into the most common Glock now for competition use. But I believe a lot of people still buy the 17s and the 34s for the longer sight radius, which if you're using an optic, to me it doesn't really matter. But if you're shooting production or whatever in IDPA or whatever, or you just like to use iron sights, you may want that longer radius. I think it's another ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch longer than this one. This one's basically about the same length as the 17 slide. It just uses the Glock 19 recoil spring and whatever guide rod spring setup assembly, and then the dust cover is longer on the 17. But another benefit of this is all Glock mags are pretty much universal for all the guns except for the 43 and the 48. So if you buy, you can't use the flush, that's a little loose, you can't use the flush 15s in this, but if you had a 19, you can use a 17 to stick out, the 23s, whatever, the big sticks or whatever, or the possibility to buy mag extensions is endless from pretty much anybody and everybody. So you would basically, I mean, you have to be within the regulations for the 141.1 or 5 millimeter for USPSA. But if you're at a local or you're taking a class, what does it matter if it doesn't exactly fit the box or whatever? But the possibilities are endless with this gun. As you can see, I put the little, I forget who makes that little strap to kind of make it more of a Glock-less angle. I never really got a chance to experiment with it because as I put it on and had the Vortex XL on there, that's when it sheared off, so I haven't really got a chance to mess with this gun with that setup. But the trigger, it's a Glock trigger, and I don't really like them. So, but if you're gonna get this, there's a lot of options for the trigger. But what I tend to do is get the spring kit from Terran Tactical, the Grandmaster spring kit, and then just change out all that springs, and it really smooths out the trigger to me. But this isn't even the normal trigger shoe. This is Johnny Glock trigger shoe. Buddy of mine at the range was running it, suggested it, so I picked one up. But I've used this one, the Apex, the Glock Performance trigger, which I didn't really like, and the stock Glock trigger, which is in my 19 still, but with the springs. So possibilities are endless with this gun. It's not a bad way to start for the price. I think these were like $629 or $640, something like that. But you get the one plate with this, which is the RMR plate. But everybody says the MOS plates are no good. I didn't have a problem with the one that it came with. I had a problem with the MOS plate that Vortex sends you for the Glock. When you buy the Vortex Defender XL, they include a plate for the Glock MOS, being the most popular gun. So I mounted that up, and that's how I got hosed right here. So, I mean, arguably this is going to be everybody's number one choice and recommended, and there's a lot you can do with it. Have this shaved down, trimmed, whatever. There's 3 back straps, I believe, that go along with this. Tape, the grip texture, all that stuff. I happen to use the epoxy and all that stuff to make this permanent. I really like the way this ended up feeling, but it is what it is. It's a little out of commission at the moment, but there you are. That's pretty much your... Oh, so who uses the Glock? Pretty much everybody and anybody. Most notably, I don't know if I should say the guy's name, but he's the multiple time USPSA champion and however many time IDPA and all that stuff. But I'll probably leave his name out for a second. But the other one would be Brantley Merriam, who uses the Glock 17 MOS, I think the Gen 5s, with a different trigger, like the tactical trigger or something. But he's, I think, was like second at nationals or something this year, and he's wins a lot of area matches and stuff like that. But IDPA, I think this is probably still king as far as IDPA, because you can shoot production, whatever their limited is, I guess. Carry optics division, you can pretty much do it all with the Glock and everything you do. So there you have it. This happens to be number one choice, I'm sure, for everybody. But if it was me personally, I think the number one choice I recommend would be the PDP, and then my favorite number one happens to be the M&P 2.0, which is, the list is all crazy, but for everybody concerned, this is probably number one. So there you have it. That would be the top 3 budget-friendly guns, carry optics guns to get into competition and whatever. So like, subscribe, and all that stuff, and maybe I'll keep doing stuff like this. All right, thank you.